We have agreed on the military plan to go back to an intensified operation against Hamas. From now on, the negotiations will only continue under fire. I promise. This is only the beginning. We'll continue to fight to achieve our goals.
Well, Hamdah Salhut joins us from the Jordanian capital, Amman, because the Palestinian Authority has suspended Al Jazeera's operations in the occupied West Bank. Hamdah, Benjamin Netanyahu saying there then all negotiations will only continue whilst fighting goes on. So that means the war has resumed?
Well, the Israeli Prime Minister essentially noting that the war has resumed, that intense fighting is going to commence. And what we saw last night is only the beginning, saying that the military campaign is going to escalate across the Gaza Strip and that negotiations for a ceasefire deal are going to happen under fire. We've heard this from the Israeli premier before, but this time, of course, it is a little bit different because we have had a ceasefire deal in effect for around 2 months. There was no fighting. There were no large-scale airstrikes, even though, of course, there were some Palestinians killed by Israeli drone strikes and Israeli fire. Throughout the 2 months, there was this pause. But what Netanyahu is saying today is that the war has resumed and that these types of military campaigns are the only way to ensure the release of the remaining Israeli captives. Netanyahu notes that Hamas is the one who rejected the Witkoff proposal, but it's important to mention here the other side. Hamas has said that they were willing and ready to move on to phase 2 as stipulated in the agreement, not any sort of additional things that were added by the Americans or by the Israelis that only benefited one side, but that they were committed to the deal in its entirety that was brought forward to them by mediators, that was signed by both parties on January 15th. So what Netanyahu is saying is that the fighting is going to continue, it's going to escalate, and what we heard from him and his defense minister in recent weeks is that what we're going to see in Gaza is different from the initial 15 months of fighting. It's going to be on a much larger scale. It's going to vary in the intensity, meaning what we saw last night with more than 400 Palestinians killed. This is one of the deadliest days on record for Palestinians throughout this war since around November 2023. So if you can just imagine those figures, and Israel hails military achievements like the killing of 6 political figures in the Gaza Strip, along with the spokesperson for Palestinian Islamic Jihad's armed wing. So they're saying that even though the ceasefire talks had failed, they're going to go back to the fighting because they say they're going to put pressure on Hamas and that military action is the only way to bring about the release of the captives.
OK, Hamdah Salhut in Amman, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.